Here we are back at Keto Naturopath Kitchen, and today I have a special treat, a keto carrot cake. Now this is probably going to be a pretty much high carb because of the carrots, but I'm not making it with nut flours. I'm making it with pork rind flour, so that will take care of some of the carbs. So to start off, I need my glasses. I have 76 grams of pork rinds, and I'm going to make the flour now. And another reason I like weighing, because I don't always have pork rind flour made up. So this way I just measure the pork rinds, make the flour. It's better too if you get the light, fluffy pork rinds. They mix up better. So right now I'm just going to concentrate on this mixture. So to that, I'm going to add a teaspoon of cinnamon, a pinch of salt, or 1/8 of a teaspoon if you'd rather measure, a teaspoon of vanilla extract, a 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, and a 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. And I'm also going to add in at this point 62 grams of xylitol. And yes, you can use any sweetener. As I've mentioned several times, I can only use xylitol or stevia. 30 grams of egg white powder. Normally I beat this up with the egg whites, but it just needs to be in there, so I'm going to put it in here. And also a teaspoon of gelatin. I've been adding gelatin to all of my baked goods lately, and it seems to improve the consistency and texture, especially in the PSMF breads. My PSMF cinnamon bread is amazing with the gelatin added. So I'm also going to add 1/4 cup or 52 grams of coconut milk. And we're going to process this to get it all mixed. So that is all mixed. We'll set this aside while we do our egg whites. Oh, I didn't put my egg yolks in. Oh no! I thought it looked a little dry, but good thing I noticed it now and not later. Put this back on. 6 egg yolks. That looks a little better. Now we're going to whip up the egg whites. We have 6 egg whites, and we will whip them to a stiff peak. So that's a stiff peak. It's not going to move. So I never used to whip up the egg whites in my baked goods. I'd always just add the eggs. And then I decided to try it one time because I make this really decadent, flourless, dairy-free chocolate cake that Carl and I usually have for our birthdays every year. This year, Carl wants my cannoli cake for his birthday. I'm still going to have this decadent chocolate cake for my birthday cake. So then I started whipping up the egg whites in my banana muffins. I decided to try it, and it came out really great. So now in most of my baked goods, I whip up the egg whites rather than just adding them without whipping, because it makes it nice and fluffy. So I'm adding in the pork rind mixture, and if you notice, I'm using a spatula. I'm trying, guys. I'm trying. I do love my spoon. We'll see how this goes. I may have to revert back to the spoon. And to this we're adding, I have a 1/2 cup or 70 grams of chopped walnuts. The walnuts are optional. And I also have 103 grams or 1 cup of shredded carrot. And again, I weigh it because your 1 cup can measure differently. And I grated it by hand using a box grater and this side of the box grater, and it was a lot of work. But I noticed at the grocery store they sell pre-shredded carrot. I didn't buy it because I had carrots at home, but yeah, I'm using my spoon. This just isn't working, and I want to make sure it all gets incorporated. This is a lot of stuff to incorporate into egg whites, so you've got the carrots and the walnuts and the pork rind flour. As you can see, it's all incorporated into a nice batter. What we're going to do now is divide this into 2 8-inch cake pans. I do not have round cake pans. I do have square ones. So I believe I'll need to buy some round ones. So divide it evenly as best you can. I thought about making just one layer cake, but most of the carrot cakes I saw when I was Googling carrot cakes, and the one recipe that I used to make called for 2 layers. So you could make 1 layer if you prefer, but this way you just get more frosting, and the frosting's part of the goodness. Now I have my oven heated up to 350 degrees, and I'm going to bake this for 25 minutes. So I'm going to put this in the oven, let it bake for 25 minutes, let it cool down a little bit, and then we'll be back and we'll frost it. So the carrot cakes were in the oven for 25 minutes. They've been out of the oven for about an hour, so they're completely cooled. What I should have said in the beginning is to make the frosting, I'm making it with goat cheese because we like to be dairy-free. And if we eat dairy, we prefer it to be goat or sheep milk. So we've been pretty much dairy-free for 20 years or so. So when I used to make carrot cake and make cream cheese frosting way back when, it was always with goat's cheese. So I'm doing mine with goat's cheese. It's 8 ounces. You can make it with cream cheese. You can do it with mascarpone cheese, whatever. But what you should do is take your cheese out before you start making the cake because it has to be room temperature. I'm not sure how this is going to be, so I'm going to whip up the cheese first. So cream cheese frosting will say to use butter. Since I try to be dairy-free, I don't use butter. So I am using 1/4 cup of coconut milk and 1/4 cup or 59 grams of mayonnaise. Yes, mayonnaise. I have done this in the past with coconut oil, so you could use coconut oil instead. So again, I'm going to mix this up and then I'll add the sugar. You add a teaspoon of vanilla and 35 grams of powdered xylitol or any powdered sweetener of your choice. So I have measured out 35 grams of xylitol. I'm going to powder it in my spice mill. If you have dogs, do not use xylitol. Use another sweetener. I have cats, but I make sure that they do not get near the xylitol. Xylitol is not as deadly for cats as it is for dogs, but still, I won't take any chances. So, we'll mix this up. So now, we'll plate the cake. As you can see, it's very thin, which is why I first thought I was going to do just 1 layer, but I wanted more frosting, so put a layer of the frosting on it. Now, if the frosting isn't thin enough, add a little more coconut milk or mayonnaise, but this came out just right. And it's okay if it drips over the sides. That'll just make it look nicer. Second layer. Now I'm just going to pour all of the frosting over. If there's frosting, enough frosting, I'll frost the sides, which I don't normally do. Oh, this is nice. It's dripping down the sides. Oh, nice. Just make sure all of the top gets... Oh, look at that. I'm not sure if I like the sides frosted or I like the drippiness of it, but there. How does that look? All right, now we're going to be back to taste it. Boy, I cannot wait to taste this. This will make 9 servings, so let me see if I can... Now to taste. Doesn't that look good? Keto carrot cake with goat cheese frosting. I love the goat cheese frosting. Amazing.